Today we are unboxing and looking at the Apple Watch Series 8. But before we do, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We have many things going on, many things coming up. TikTok, Instagram, of course, YouTube, and Facebook. You don't want to miss out. So the Series 8, this particular one is the 41 millimeter. It comes in 41 millimeter or 45 millimeter aluminum, stainless steel, and then the colors do vary depending on which route you go. In terms of a band, now the bands, they changed it and put sizing. You have your small to medium, your medium to large. Now, in terms of your bands, good news, all the bands that you have for any of your Apple Watches will work as long as you're not jumping a size. So your 38, your 40, your 41, and then you have the 42, the 44, the 45. The 42, the 44, 45 also will all fit the Ultra watch as well. So don't get hung up on the band selection for any Apple Watch. The Ultra, yes, because it does depend on the sport you intend to do. The Alpine Loop does seem to be the fan favorite among those that are purchasing the Ultra. But don't get so hung up on the band itself, as all the other bands that you have will fit, again, depending on the size. If you're jumping from the smaller size Apple Watch to the bigger size, then no, your bands will not fit. If you're staying in that same size regiment, then you will be good to go. So upon opening, looks very familiar, right? You have your main watch, you have your band, and here, this particular one is the 41 in Starlight. You have your red, you have different colors, not really covering that. I did cover in my Apple launch recap as far as what all that is, so feel free to give that a look. So very familiar if you have an Apple Watch already. If you don't, this is basically how they always come. When you lift this out, you have some product information. You have your watch charger. And what's nice is you can actually use this watch charger now to charge your AirPod Pros too. So this particular one, I think they may have started this with the Series 6. It's a USB-C. The watch itself, when taking it out, basically slide it out of this protective case. And you'll see the Apple logo with it turning on. The back of this lights up when it goes onto your skin and gives different readings. So a lot of different things with the watch, depending on where you're jumping from. Again, I personally had a 3, had a 6. Staying with my 6, might go to the Ultra, we'll see. Wifey had a 3, she's jumping to the 8. When we look at the processor, you look at SE1, SE2, not really covering those, mainly the 6, 7, and 8. You'll see that the processor, an S6 in the 6, a SIP 64-bit, a 7 SIP 64-bit, and the 8 a SIP 64-bit. So it's a dual-core processor, a U1 ultra-wideband, Bluetooth 5.3 in Series 8 versus the 7 and 6 5.0, 32 gigs of storage. So very, very similar in your processor. When you look at the case size, you'll see in the 7 and 8, it was 41, now 45. In the 6, it bumped up a little bit, 40 and 44 to 41 and 45. You have 1,000 nits in terms of your brightness. The always-on display is there for 6, 7, and 8. Sapphire crystal front is with the steel models, not with the aluminum models, and that's with the 6, 7, and 8. A little bit with the pixels better on the 7 and 8 versus the 6. All in all, not really a big jump when we look at battery life. So now they added a mode for battery life. You can actually extend the life. I believe this was from Series 4 and above, which is also the series that's getting Watch OS 9. So if you have lower than the 4, right, the 3, the 2, you will not be getting the Watch OS 9. So that is a big deal in terms of battery life. You can actually go, it says 0 to 80% in 45 minutes. It was 0 to 80% in about 60 minutes. Interestingly enough, though, you see that in the 7. You also see it in the 6. So I don't know if they're looking at the 7 and 6 also with that battery saver mode, But you'll see 36 hours, extended battery with low power mode, and then you have your battery life standard. So the charging time, I'm assuming, is in that extended battery mode. So your battery life is going to be better, but that's with Watch OS 9, not necessarily with the Apple Watch 8. You'll see there's different things here. You have multi-sport workouts, advanced cycle tracking, retrospective ovulation estimates, international roaming, low power mode. So a lot of this was on the Series 7. The differences are your crash detection is only in the Series 8. You have your temperature sensing and advanced cycle tracking. So when we look at the actual features, your crash detection, your advanced cycle tracking with temp sensing are the two pieces that are not in your Series 7 that are now in the Series 8. And IP6X dust resistant, not in the Series 6, but in your 7 and 8. So that's the difference between a 6 and 7, it looks like. So not a lot of difference between 6 and 7, a little bit of difference between 6 and 8. Again, is it enough for you to want to jump to the 8? I mean, there are trade-in promotions. It always kind of comes down to that too. Maybe you're going to the Ultra. That's a whole different ball game there. If you're in a 3, a 4, jumping to the 8, you're going to see a lot of progress, a lot of a faster processor. It's going to feel like a faster watch. You're going to definitely notice the difference, notice the battery life. So that's my recommendation, just looking off the stats. Again, you know, whatever you want to do, it depends on the promotions and things that are out there. But I'd say the 6, 7, and 8 look very, very similar. Maybe the 6 to the 8 would be a decent jump. Again, if you're going to jump to the 8, it may not be that much more to jump to the Ultra if you're in the 6. The 7 to the 8, not so much of a difference for me personally to make the jump. But maybe you're jumping a different size, maybe you want a different color. Of course, they do have the bumper cases, which are really nice that you can put on to protect the watch, which I highly recommend. And also it does change the color. So you can change the band, you can get a different bumper case, you can kind of make it a whole new watch. So there is that as well. The SEs are great. I'd say with young kids, maybe you've heard of like a gizmo watch that LG used to make, where it has its own line and parents can kind of track who is texting what. It's not a phone yet, it's a watch. So Apple Watch does that as well with their SEs. But SEs are also great for those that just kind of want something to track. In the SEs though, there are some things you do lose. You don't have the echocardiogram, you don't have the blood oxygen sensor, so you don't have some of those things. As you look at the SE2, you miss out on quite a few things there in comparison. So what do you think currently? What watch do you have? How many are jumping to the Ultra? I'm waiting to get my hands on one when Apple and Pixel and Samsung and Moto send me devices. Hint, hint. Hello, I'm here. I will demo for you. So if anyone is watching that represent those avenues. But otherwise, let me know what you think. Put in the comments, are you gonna jump into a new Apple Watch this year? You're waiting maybe for the Apple Watch 9, if that's what they call it. Are you content where you're at? Maybe you like having a new watch every year and a half, and you want to test out the new things. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, like, subscribe, share. Make it a great day.